And welcome once again to our devotion from the Reverend William J. Today we are looking at Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. And it says, "And Noah walked with God." William J. writes, "The apostle gives us a fine representation of what it means to be a Christian when speaking of God. He says, with whom we have to do. We have to do with our fellow humans in various relations, but morality must be evidenced by godliness and flow from it. Our connections with our God, our expectations from Him, our obligations to Him, are supreme to all other relationships. We can see three expressions regarding our walking with God. First, we read of walking after the Lord. This supposes Him to be our leader and example and requires us to be followers of Him as dear children. They shall walk after the Lord, says Hosea. Secondly, we read of walking before God. This supposes Him to be our observer and witness. Therefore, we are always in His sight. "Walk before me," said God to Abraham. "I will walk before the Lord," says David, "in the land of the living." We also read of walking with God. This is what Noah and Enoch did. So does every partaker of divine grace. This kind of walking seems to hold Him forth as our companion and friend. This is surprising, but so it is. There is an interaction between Him and us. We have fellowship with one another. In order to have this, reconciliation is necessary, for how can two walk together except they be agreed? And this reconciliation must be mutual. It is not enough that God is reconciled to us through the blood of the cross. We must also be reconciled to God and love His presence and choose His way. For walking with God implies a oneness of direction and supposes that we advance together toward the same end. God's aim is His own glory, and we are charged, whether we eat or drink or whatever we do, to do all to the glory of God. As far as we observe this rule, we walk with God, and as far as we neglect it, we leave God and go in another direction. If we are familiar and conversant with anyone, we unavoidably catch something of his spirit and his manners. Hence it is said that he that walks with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. If I walk with God, I shall resemble Him, and all will take knowledge of me that I have been with Jesus. How envied would the man be who was allowed to walk with the King! But I walk with the King of kings and Lord of lords. Such honor have all His saints. What security I have in nearness to Him! He is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. What can I want if I have Him? He says, "My presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest." Were I in heaven without my God, it would be no joy to me. And while this earth is my home, I long for none but Thee. Thanks for listening. Hope to see you next time.